Story time about why I decided to leave my ex-husband. Keep in mind, before I left him, I was having all of these really like gut-wrenching feelings in our apartment. I had left town for about a week and a half because I had gotten my gallbladder removed, and we were fighting, and he told me that he couldn't take care of me and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be with family to process everything and decide what I want to do with my life. And I literally couldn't sit up out of bed on my own, and he said that he was not going to be there to help me. So I was like, okay, I need to go get some help because come on. For the whole time that I was home with family and had left and everything, he completely ignored me. I could not get a hold of him. No matter how many times I tried to call him, text him, like no response. So I was spiraling because I was like, okay, at this point I hadn't asked for a divorce. I hadn't like officially left. I just had left because I just got my gallbladder removed, and I was spiraling. I was like, I can't even get a hold of my husband. Like, this is not okay. This is not healthy. And I start spiraling because I'm having all these gut feelings that like he's bringing a girl to our apartment. Like, he's cheating on me. Like, what is happening? I finally got a hold of him one night, and he answered my FaceTime call. It was probably like a 5-minute phone call, and he probably said like 2 words the entire time. Like, he just stared at me. There was nothing in his eyes. He just was looking right through me, like would not say a word. And I was like, can you just talk to me? Can you communicate with me so that we can like figure out what's going on? Like, why are you so upset? Why, like, what is happening? He was really upset that I went home to be with family because he's like, well, I should be taking care of you. And I said, well, I don't understand because you just told me you couldn't take care of me. So I decided to go home. I was like, dude, like, what do you want from me here? When I finally realized that he was not going to talk to me, was not going to communicate with me, I just said, okay, I love you. And he just stared at me. Guys, I kid you not, he just stared at me. I'm not even exaggerating. And so I said it again. I was like, I love you. And he just stared at me. And I was like, why can't you say I love you? And he ended up just hanging up the phone. He never said I love you. So I texted him and I was like, why can't you say I love you to me anymore? Like, why is that so hard for you? And he said, I'm trying to love you, but it's just so hard. When I tell you my heart shattered into a million pieces, no woman wants to hear that, especially from their husband. And so at that point, I would just basically cried myself to sleep because I'm like, okay, can't get my husband to talk to me whatsoever, so we can't work through this, we can't communicate. He just said that it's hard to love me. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I had just gotten my gallbladder removed. My health was at the worst place possible. I literally, at this point, through all of the abuse within the relationship and stuff, I had just literally lost myself, felt like a literal shell of myself, and I just was so lost. But at this point, I still didn't know if I was going to get divorced. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I honestly think that he wanted an out, but he didn't know how to do it, which he did tell me that one time before. He said that if we ever get divorced, you're going to have to be the one who leaves me because I don't have the guts to do it myself. Excuse me, sir? Who the hell says that? What? And when he said that, it's not even like we were talking about divorce. He just randomly was like, yeah, if we ever get divorced, you're going to have to be the one who leaves me because I'm not going to have the guts to do it to myself. Sir. I truly believe at this point he was just trying to make my life so incredibly miserable so that I would leave. There was one night that I literally felt like I was just like praying to God and just kind of like wrestling with God, like, tell me what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And I remember just feeling a ton of peace. But just feeling like I needed to stay home with family a little bit longer. And I knew that if I told him that, he was going to be super upset because he was already pissed that I was even home with family. Like, he was so upset about it, which I think was the main reason why he decided to give me the silent treatment and not talk to me. But like, come on, grow up. I told him the next day that I was staying longer. No response. Like, he was upset at this point. I was just like, whatever. But then the next day I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go home because, you know, I just felt like I need to go work on our relationship. Like, I need to figure this out, figure out what I'm going to do. So I go back to where we were living. Keep in mind, the whole time that I was home with family, I hadn't had like a panic attack at all. I go back and get in the car with him, and immediately my body starts freaking out. Like, I feel like my throat is closing. I start like full on just panicking, like panic mode. When I got in the car, he was not even happy to see me, which no one knew that he was like this behind closed doors, because as soon as we would get around people, he put on this face and be his bubbly, happy self. But then as soon as we were behind closed doors and in private, like, he would just shut down and just like be so pissed at me and couldn't get a response out of him. And so it's like no one knew this was happening, but it was so manipulative. So at this point, I'm back in his presence. I'm having a full-blown panic attack. Like, my body's literally responding. My body was quite literally rejecting him. I remember after that panic attack, I was like, I just had this feeling like that's my answer. I can't do this anymore. And I just remember being like, no human should have to live like this in this much stress and misery and like not even feeling safe around your partner. And I remember walking back into our apartment. Keep in mind, I had been gone, like I said, for like a week and a half at this point. And I go back into our apartment and I just felt sick. Like, I felt like I was gonna vomit in there. I did not want to stay the night there. I felt physically ill. And I just had this gut feeling that someone else had been there when I was gone. And you guys, like, I can't even describe the feeling. I just felt so ill. My mom was there and I told her, I was like, I think I need to get a divorce. I'm just like sobbing. And she was like, because she didn't know anything that was happening behind the scenes. My mom and my ex-husband did not get along though. They did not like each other. That was very clear. But my mom was in shock and she's like, okay, let's call your dad. So I call my dad sobbing, tell him what's going on. And he basically said, like, we'll support you in whatever you choose to do. But he said, and this will always stick with me, he's like, the Lord does not expect you to be miserable, which gave me peace too. And just knowing, like, this is not how marriage should be. This is not from God. If it was, then it would not be abusive, manipulative. It would not be causing me this much stress and chaos in my life. So at that point, that was kind of the boost and the reassurance that I needed from my family. They weren't saying, yes, get a divorce, but they basically just said, we'll support you in whatever you decide to do. I stayed in a hotel that night with my mom because I could not step foot in our apartment. It made me ill. And then the next morning I packed up my stuff and I left. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 because there's so many details that I can't even include.